Doing business in Russia. This is my first winter here in Russia, and I've been so active here. I've been so active. I've been meeting people. I've been at events, trade shows. I've been invited to go on TV and been meeting people from all different walks of life. And with my experience trading across the world, I've come to realize a couple of things. And one of the things I've realized is you can be rich and you can be dumb. You can be poor and you can be smart. And what I mean by this is when you start communicating with people around the world and you start to understand how different societies thrive, what makes a certain society successful and one fail, you'll notice that a lot of the comments are the same. People at this point in time generally blame immigration for a lot of their woes. And for some of the parts, I actually agree with them. There is a problem with immigration. Like if you take a look at Europe and unchecked immigration, then yeah, you're gonna have some problems. But then, where can immigration work, and how does this apply to business? Well, in countries like Dubai, the UAE, they do have a lot of immigration. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but like when you go there, and let's say if you ever, I mean, look, this particular example is more Abu Dhabi, but I remember going there. I just remember seeing buses upon buses upon buses of Indians and Pakistanis come to build the skyscrapers. Like, I'm telling you, they're not native to Abu Dhabi or to the United Arab Emirates. And you'll see that here in Russia too. You'll see immigrants brought in from certain countries to, build the buildings, to deliver the food, do all the stuff that the natives don't really want to do. And that's normal. That's actually pretty common around the world. You'll have immigrants that do the jobs that most normal people within the country don't want to do. Does that mean that immigration has succeeded in a country like Dubai and failed in a country, let's say, like in Australia? Yes or no? What the important part is understanding how these immigrants are allowed to integrate into society, how long their stays are allowed, what kind of jobs can they do, what kind of laws punishes them if they don't respect the local culture. That is a real cornerstone to a good, successful immigration policy versus a really shit one. Now, a shit one is the EU immigration policy, and not all EU countries. We know Poland is doing quite well, so is Hungary, but there are others that have unchecked immigration, and as a result, violent crime is up. How does that relate to business? The way a country is structured, the way a people's law-abiding citizens feel, will correlate to how successful and how much taxes you will pay eventually. Now, it's a big claim. It's a lot to explain there, and I'm not going to go into it all right now. I'm sure we'll break it down in later videos. But if your country has a successful law-abiding policy system, you're going to be more confident in building in that system. But if anybody can rock up to your country unchecked, set up shops, you're at an unfair disadvantage because you have to deal with regulations, taxes, safety concerns, all that shit while building a business. They don't. So why would you build it? And that's why building in countries like Russia at the moment is good. We have a great immigration policy and a great system here to build. And what's interesting about Russia, and this is where I'm starting to make my point, I guess. Russia, to me, is the next economic hub. What part of Russia? I'm not too sure. I don't think it's going to be Moscow. I think they're going to target something like Nizhny Novgorod or Sochi to make it as a economic free zone. And I think they're going to really start developing that. And I see that because we have a lot of influencers from around the world starting to visit parts of Russia and starting to talk about it. These are the early stages. And to give you guys a little bit of context and history, Russia during the 90s, for those of you that don't know, fell. So the Soviet Union collapsed. We spent the last 35 years rebuilding Russia. Now it's at a point where it is strong, stable, money wants to come in here. It's another pillar of the world. So once again, going back to business, why would you want to open up here? Well, why would you want to open up in Singapore? Why would you want to open up in Dubai? Why would you want to open up in Switzerland? Why would you want to open up in the Cayman Islands? Diversifying your portfolio, your assets, is essential for survival. And look, I'm talking now more to people that are kind of playing that catch-up game. There's a lot of rich people here. They've already noticed. They have assets all around the world, and they have Russia as one of their bases. Where everyone else starts to come in is when the influencers start to talk about it and the social media and everything else starts to really promote it. So now is actually a really good time, just before that full-on wave starts hitting, which it will in the next 5 years, to establish a OOO here, which is basically an LLC or the equivalent to a PTY Ltd in Australia, and start understanding the Russian revenue system, what options there are here to build, if it's a digital product or if it's a physical product, what are the regulations around it, how does it work for you, all these important, essential questions. So, yeah, there are going to be those who are like, well, there's a war going on and this and that. Look, the world's always at one stage of war with someone else or something's happening. I'm sure no one abandoned America when they invaded Iraq. Like, wars happen, they will continue to happen. It's unfortunately part of our human dynamic, right? But for those of you that want to diversify, want to build, Russia is an incredible spot, especially now, just before this boom happens. And I'm telling you as someone who is committed, and I have businesses trade around the world. On one level or another, in some parts of the world, I have a physical business. Other parts, I license things out. And I have to understand about business in those countries. I have to understand the nuances, the pros and cons, how to move. And what I understand now is the more points you have, the better it is for you as a business person, as a brand, to survive, to thrive, as a family. It's very important for you if you are a freedom-loving person, if you are a person that doesn't want to be locked down or have your dick left out in the snow, so to speak. If shit gets bad, then it is important for you to start looking at diversifying. So I'm going to leave you guys with something. If you are interested in a move to Russia, start looking at some of the different cities. And I don't mean a move where you need to physically live here for, years on end. For most people, you can set up your company and, you'll have to spend, depending on what type of residency you want. If you're moving here for family, it's obviously very different. If you're moving here for business, there are different avenues there for you to explore. Either way, I'm going to be putting up some guides for some people down the line on how this works, what to do, what best methods to take, and hopefully, if you guys have any questions about what it's been like so far, please drop some comments down below. I'll be happy to explain to you my experiences. For those of you that know me, I sold multiple businesses just this year in Australia too. So that was an interesting experience and taught me a lot. And these weren't just, small businesses, they're seven-figure businesses. So that was a lot of to and fro and a lot of understanding was gained. But guys, ask away in the comments about what kind of situation you're in. I've had some people ask me about just moving here as an individual person on my Instagram page, volko.nt. I've helped them out too. But specifically for the business people, please ask away. Happy to help. And thanks, guys. And if you like the content, please leave a like and a subscribe. See you on the next one.